Let me go back to your daughter again, all right?
Yeah.
What you have appeared to have done as a parent is to assist your child at a later life in fulfilling her dream, whatever that dream may be. How has that worked out for you and your wife? Have you been happy to participate in that dream of hers and assist her? Because you didn't plan on ending up on a horse farm in California probably 15 years ago, did you?
Dave, you are a very observing person. You really are. You know, this is the best thing I ever did in my life. I'm now enjoying the best experience of my entire life, being part of this operation.
You work for Ernst & Young?
And I do whatever I can for her. I help her. She runs the show, and she has to run the show, and I have to give her that privilege because she wants it, she needs it, and she can do it. I couldn't do what she did. And I think I would say that I worked my entire life and had some good luck. I've been very charmed. I've had led a charmed life, been very successful. But I think she's done more in 5 years for the benefit of humanity than I have done for my entire life. Wow. So in participating...
Animality, not humanity so much, right? I mean, benefit of the world, living creatures in it.
So you admire your daughter's...
Yes, I do. And everybody that's been to the ranch has the same reaction. So it's been an environment that's been so beautiful to live in.
So just living there for you and your wife
living there has been so rewarding. I mean, the people that come appreciate it, and they all love it, and we appreciate their cooperation and their help. And so living in that kind of environment is so positive, it's almost spiritual.
Okay, can I ask you some more questions about La Familia?
Sure.
La Familia. Okay. When your daughter first came to you with this idea, how did you and your wife respond to that? Did you say, well, this is a great idea, dear, but it seems unfeasible? Did you say, let's look into it? How did you approach that when she came and said, Dad and Mom, our mom and Dad, I'm going to buy a horse farm in California and save the wild horses? What did you think when you heard that as a parent?
Well, we've always supported our daughters all our life, and that's what started with us giving them the horse when they were 5 or 6 years old. And so...
That was their idea.
That was their idea. And so doing that, supporting them all their life, when she wanted to create the sanctuary, we were really positive about it.
So you felt positive right from the start?
Absolutely, felt because it's a wonderful thing.
But you didn't say to yourself, geez, I don't know if Netta can pull this off or anything like that?
I felt that she was so much of her dream that she had to try it. Because she hadn't tried it, her life would not have been fulfilled. But
you and your wife risked to have her fulfill her dream, didn't you? Or did you not?
Yeah, but we were able to risk what we had because I still have my pension and I can always eat. So as long as I can provide them with what they want to do, then that's really a major purpose of anyone's life, to make sure that their children are successful. As a matter of fact, we get more satisfaction out of their success than we do out of our own. And everybody feels that way.
Yeah, I think that's true. And the next question is, how many children do you have?
I have 2.
2 daughters. Now, the other daughter is the younger daughter, right?
Right.
What does she think about all the family resources going into the horse farm?
Diana,
not necessarily going to her. I'm just asking if you could share that. Was there any discussion there with her that here we are, dear, we want to do this for Netta? It doesn't mean we don't love you or whatever.
Netta, Diana feels the same way about Netta. She does not have the same degree of passion because Diana really wanted a family, going to get married and wanted a family, and that was her prime ambition in life, and which she has accomplished. And so when this occurred, me, and Netta put all of our resources together.
Daughter too?
All of us.
So
all of our resources.
Too, so
the other daughter.
So they're all in it. Your whole family is in it.
And you know, Dave, what was ironic and beautiful is that we put everything we own, all the securities we had, we sold. And that was in 1998 to buy land.
Oh, good
If we had kept those securities,
we would have lost
at least 40% of what we had.
This is your younger daughter, you and your wife, and your older daughter all put your money in.
All whatever, we sold everything. Everything. In order to be able to buy it. Every single penny.
Now, does your younger daughter live there too?
No, she doesn't. She lives in Los Angeles.
But does she go up there?
Oh, yeah. She goes there every chance she gets. It's her vacation home.
Is she married? Does she have a husband?
She's married now and has a son, a 3-year-old son. And her son loves the place.
She's happy with it. So how did you develop a family? How did you do it? You and your wife to have 2 children that shared in the dream of the older sister. It's an amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, it wasn't a foregone conclusion. Your daughters went through some difficult times, like everybody, right?
Yeah.
Which we won't necessarily go into. It's up to you whether you want to discuss the history of their lives.
No, but the idea is that the family moved together for a common goal of one of the children.
Yeah.
The oldest sister is an amazing phenomenon.
It is. Well, I think this passion was so strong with my oldest daughter that it just carried us along.
And because of that, you have benefited, you and your wife.
Oh, yeah, immensely.
And what about her younger sister? Does she feel that same benefit?
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. Because don't forget, her investment and her inheritance, and that is investment in her inheritance, is in that property. Yeah, and that property now is worth more than it was in 1998.
Oh, okay.
But the securities would have been worth much less had they kept them. So ironically, I shouldn't say ironically.
Unintentionally,
but beautifully, wonderfully. By fate. In order to do something that was a personal desire of ours, we benefited from an investment.
For the good.
For the good, financially. We benefited financially.
You know, Dave, when somebody really does have a dream and a passion, that person can be very attractive. That person can draw support.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But is it usually from the family and the siblings? That's what I was wondering. I don't know if that's normal or if that's... It used to be, I think, but I think we got away. We want investors now. You know, banks and investors. And to move that away from the family as a foundation for the success of other family members.
Or I guess, or seeing the family as an investment, right?
Yeah, or seeing the family as an investment, yeah.
And Dave, everybody that meets Netta, and also the press and the radio, are impressed with her very much. She's a dynamic PR person, public relations person. And we've had more publicity with that sanctuary than any other thing that I've ever seen. It's phenomenal how much favorable press we've gotten since we started. So we're getting to be well known because of her powerful public relations ability. And it's a natural ability. And it's only a natural ability because it's expressed to a passion that she has and people can understand and feel. So it's quite remarkable.
And you say even the horses feel it too, right?
The horses do. She communicates with the horses. Yeah, she communicates with the horses. I mean, she knows what they're thinking and how they feel. She'll wake up in the night and go out there and there's something wrong and she'll find it.
Wow.
She has
she hears the neighing or something?
No, just a feeling. Sometimes she doesn't hear the neighing. Right.
Horse whisperer.
Yeah, she just has a
that's interesting.
Psychic.
Maybe they should do a movie on her. And you, Bill.
Well, we're going to.
Could I play you in the movie?
We're going to have. We're going to have.
Bill, could I be you in the movie? If I cut my hair. If
you let me be you. We'll change places.
All right, you can be me, and I'll be you. And Joel, who do you want to be?
I'll be the horse.
So we're in the process, Dave, of getting a 15-minute promo.
Go ahead.
Done, and also.
For what?
Getting
for TV or something?
Yeah, so we can have TV and on the web or wherever.
But why don't you send a film crew from the school out there to do a thing and then put it
Paul
on?
Falcone, our filmmaker.
And we're going to have a documentary done that'll go out.
Paul Falcone does
He could bring his
time.
class out, a class project. They could go on spring break or something.
You know Paul Falcone?
Oh, sure I do.
Yeah, you got the guy right here.
Project.
Okay.
But he could go out and do the...
So you have to generate that activity here yourselves.
Well, Paul Falcone, just ask him. He'll do it. He'd do it. He'd be happy to do it. That'd be a good
but you have to authorize to be able to do that.
Well, you got the power.
I don't know. I don't
Yes,
think so.
president's an artist. That's all. He was out there.
Yeah, he was out there. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that's all. I think it could. You
Okay.
see, what we don't realize, Joel, is
The resources
that
that we all are, that we
and then
have
could
available
utilize,
readily to hand.
and we could use.
Well, I think Bill is very good at that.
Yeah,
Bill,
he
all
is.
his life, has known how to find resources to support worthy causes in the community. Haven't you, Bill?
Yeah, well, I've been fortunate.
Well, you're fortunate because you have such a terrific personality.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you think that? What were your parents like, Bill?
My
Mother
parents?
And father. Yeah. What were your mother, father, grandmother?
They were
grandpa?
immigrants from Italy, and
First generation that came over. Your parents.
I'm the first generation.
So your parents were born in Italy.
They were born in Italy, and my two brothers were born in Italy.
Oh, really? And you're the youngest child.
And I was the third son.
Third son.
My two brothers are now deceased, and I'm the third. I was the third child, the son, and my sister is the fourth child, and we were both born here.
And where did you come to when you came to the United States?
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
And why?
Yeah.
Was it a job for your father?
That's where my father. That's where my father had to work.
What kind of work do you work in?
He was a laborer.
In the factories?
Yeah.
And you went to public high school?
I went to public high school.
Were you always a good student kind of thing?
Yeah, I was a pretty good student.
You were?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy growing up in Bridgeport?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were poor, but I enjoyed it.
And how did you, then what did you do? You went off to college somewhere?
Well,
did you work during high school?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
I used to work in the market on Saturday all day. And then the war came, and I volunteered.
World War II, the big one?
World War II.
WW2, the big one?
Yeah. And I volunteered and got into the Air Corps, and I went overseas and bombardier as a bombardier.
In Europe?
Yeah, Europe. And then I came back, and because of the war, I got the GI Bill of Rights, and I got my education, which changed my life completely.
And then where did you go to school then?
I went to school 2 years at the University of Bridgeport, which is junior college then. And then I transferred to Wharton, University of Pennsylvania. And then I took
and
my
you were
master's.
interested in taxes and all that then? Or
Yeah.
finance?
Yeah, I was.
From
And
being
then-
a bombardier? You were a bombardier?
I was a bombardier in a war.
So bombardier from Texas to bombardier.
Bombardier to taxes, right? Either way, you get blown up, right?
All right, so then you went to Wharton and you got your undergraduate degree.
Yeah.
Through the GI Bill.
And then eventually I became a revenue agent, and then I joined the firm of Ernst & Young
Revenue
10 years
agent
later.
with the
IRS.
IRS.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're a great outfit, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I heard they're very good.
But I didn't like working in a place where people didn't like me around.
Oh,
And they could help
the customers.
the customers.
Yeah,
right.
the clients.
They were uncomfortable, and I can understand.
Well, we're
that.
all afraid of them.
But I had the opportunity given to me by Fred Fisher, actually.
Really?
He went to the University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right. He did.
He met me in the course of some audits, and he asked me to join the firm. And it was Ernst & Young, Ernst then.
Yeah.
And so I became a tax person.
So you came back to New Haven?
Came back to New Haven, or came to New Haven.
To New Haven. Your family was still in Bridgeport? Your parents were still alive? They were in Bridgeport?
No, they were deceased by then.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, you came back to New Haven with Fred Fisher's firm.
Yeah, and my wife and I, and we had two children in New Haven.
And you lived in New Haven?
Yeah, New Haven area.
Yeah. And then you worked for Ernst.
And then I worked for Ernst and then became a partner.
Ernst & Young. Then it switched to Ernst & Young.
Yeah.
Then how did you get to come to the University of New Haven? You came here as
I was on the board of the University of New Haven board of directors.
Right.
And they asked me if, when I came close to retirement, if I would join the university as a treasurer, because the present treasurer, Frank Hull, wanted to retire, and I agreed.
When was that?
That was around 1961.
So you became the treasurer of the University of New Haven?
Yeah.
And how did you like that job?
Well, I really didn't want to be a treasurer, and I told them that.
No.
But they wanted me to do that, and I said I really wanted to teach, so they made me a professor and a treasurer, and told me that if they ever replaced me, and I suggested that they replace me, if they ever replaced me, that I'd be a full-time professor.
Oh,
and that happened 2 years later.
2 years later
Yeah.
they replaced you.
Yeah.
You then became a full-time professor. Did you like that?
Yeah, I loved that. Now it was fun. I loved my work, but now I had done doing something that I found fun and more enjoyable.
So you found being a professor was more fun and enjoyable than, say, being a corporate man? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
I did. Yes, I did.
What was one of the advantages of a professor over a corporate person? Yeah. What was one of the advantages?
Well, it's reacting with the young people.
Well, you were teaching at the graduate level exclusively?
Graduate level, right.
So they weren't quite so young.
Oh, but still youth.
So it makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
It does. Yeah.
Freshman versus
That's
grad
true, Bill.
student. But
I agree with Joel.
So that was very rewarding.
So you did that, you loved the job, and then you retired from that and you went into the development, right?
Yeah, after I retired, because I reached the age of 70, they couldn't keep me on deck anymore because that was the policy of the school.
Oh, before?
Yeah.
Not anymore, though.
Yeah,
not anymore,
right.
but then.
Okay.
And so I was forced to retire.
By the federal government or by the school?
By the school.
By the school.
And 2 years after that, they rehired me at the age of 72 as a development officer because of my knowledge of taxes.
And you like that too? Did you?
Yeah, I like that too. So now it's another happy world where you meet people that want to donate money and how you try to help them out. And so that environment is also a beautiful environment.
Yeah, see, what Bill made me realize is that, being an accountant is really a people profession.
Yeah.
I guess the stereotype is it's a number crunching type profession, good with numbers. But boy, if you're good with people, you're going to go a lot further in accounting probably than if you're just good at numbers.
It's probably true that a lot that are in accounting may be numbers people, though. Is that true? Or
what?
Are most people in accounting like everybody else, or are they more numbers people?
Well, if you're strictly in accounting, it's more of a numbers thing. But when you're a tax person, it's part legal, mostly legal.
Yeah.
Because you're interpreting the tax laws.
So then you worked for the development office for how many years?
And then I did that for about 8 years. Yeah.
And your daughter says to you, I want a
and
horse farm
during
in
that
California?
During that time is when she said...
Or a horse sanctuary?
Yeah, sanctuary. And so I was close to retirement.
Again?
I was about 75 then, say. Close to retirement.
But if you...
Close to retirement, meaning retirement that had already occurred.
Yeah. To another retirement. So that was rewarding, but then that's how I met Joel Marks right here.
Through that, Joel
as a tax person, we became acquainted because we were able to work together. And
Joel is a very loving, kind human being in the world.
Yeah, and Joel's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Yeah,
when I was down in the dumps, when I had nothing, I had zero.
Yeah?
Zero, and I was depressed.
Really?
Zero. I couldn't even get enough money to rent an apartment. And Joel lent me the money to get an apartment. Told me I never had to pay him back, and I said I would, and I did, right, Joel?
Yes.
But he's the only one. He's the guy who helped me when I was down on my back.
He would.
Well, again, certain people draw you to them, and David Morris is one of those people. Because David,
I was down,
David, I mean, his essence is giving. I mean, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Any person, friend, stranger, enemy, anybody, Dave will help gladly.
I found a great camaraderie, both when I was a revenue agent among the government workers. There is a great camaraderie. Yes, there is. And I found a great camaraderie here in the education
school. Yeah,
institution.
I believe that's true.
So I think that's great.
Okay, here's a poem I wrote yesterday. See if you like this, all right?
Yeah.
I call it Celtic Parents. Kindness given cannot be repaid to those who forego on our behalf. We never know the deeds done. No thanks this day or morrow shall be received. Life demands it to be so. Old enough to know, wise enough to see. It is your time, my child, to move the circle once again. Do you think that's you, Bill? Can you identify with that?
Beautiful.
Kindness given cannot be repaid.
Yeah.
To those who forego on our behalf. In other words, our parents or whatever, We never know the deeds done. We never know what our parents did for us. Would you agree? Joel and myself included. No thanks this day or morrow shall be received. Life demands it be so. Old enough to know, wise enough to see. It is your time, my child, to move the circle once again. So your children, your daughters, and your grandchildren should continue to move the circle that you have done for them, even maybe not even recognizing that you did it in your generation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even the horses in this case don't realize who their true beneficiary
they don't
was.
know. Yeah, that's right. They don't know.
And they do repay, but not intentionally, of course.
Right.
You know, it's interesting, Dave. I just wrote a little article my daughter asked me to write, and it's about my charmed life. And the first thing that ever happened was when the government gave me a chance to have an education.
Yeah, right.
The best thing they ever did for us and for the country.
Yeah, for the country too.
Okay,
yes.
for the country too.
That was a big move.
Okay, and then I go on in life, and I made donations to my daughter each and every year, which were beneficially tax-wise. You give a gift.
10,000 a year you can give them.
That's right.
Per parent.
It's about 11,000 now. You give it without any taxes.
Right? Per parent.
Per donee.
Isn't it per parent?
No, per donee. In other words, you can give $10,000 to as many people as you want.
But can your wife do the same thing?
And she can do the same thing.
Right,
That's right.
What do you mean? That's not deductible, though.
No, it's not taxable.
It's not deductible, but it's not taxable to them.
Oh, to them.
And
Yeah, right.
My friend does
It's not
that
deductible.
to his children.
But I don't pay any taxes.
Every year he turns over that amount of money to both.
And I don't pay any gift taxes for doing it because it's excludable because it's less than 11,000 now.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so they aggregated.
You can do it, and your wife can do 11. So
right.
22,000.
Right. So we aggregated, money for them that they had aggregated. So when it came time to go into another venture, which was for Netta's passion, we all contributed what we had, and then again, we shared.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, and because we shared and we did that. As I said before, we saved a lot of money. We didn't lose it in the stock market. We now have it in property. And now the property that they own is worth a lot more than it would have been.
But because you and your wife shared, your daughters will share, your grandchildren will share. It'll go on for generations. That's what my poem's about.
Yes, that's beautiful.
2, 3, 4 generations down, they won't know why they're sharing. That it was based on you or your parents. No, I mean, honestly,
right. Yeah. Well, who knows where it began?
Or who knows? That's what I was going to ask you. What were your parents that way, or your grandparents on your mother's side, father's side? Who?
Well, they must have been because
you don't know though. Did you know your grandparents?
Yeah, they gave us everything they had.
Your parents gave you everything.
Everything. They did everything for us. They didn't have much, but everything. And don't forget the sacrifices they made. Yeah. Coming to this country. By yourself, my father. It was quite a gamble to try to better.
How old was he when he came?
Pardon?
How old was your father?
Oh, he was a young man when he came.
20s?
Yeah, 20s, right.
And your mother was?
And you were back and forth 2 or 3 times.
And then
came here to earn money, go back.
Mother?
And then he brought back
your mother and your...
Finally brought back his mother, his wife and two children. 2 children.
And you were born here.
And then we were born here.
But did you know your grandparents in your life?
No.
No,
never knew. Yeah.
Were they alive when you were a child?
No.
No, they had died earlier.
They were dead before I was born.
Mm-hmm. Did your parents talk about your grandparents, or were they?
Yeah, they did, but that was so long ago that
that's interesting.
That wasn't the point of conversation very often.
No.
Yeah.
So your parents were loving and giving, you'd say.
Oh yeah.
Were they devout Roman Catholics, for example?
Yes.
Did they go to church every Sunday kind of thing? They did?
Yes, very much.
Yeah. So they got this giving thing to their children, and then you did the same.
Were they liberal-minded, as you are?
I think that they didn't have the educational process. They were here in a country where they could neither read or write, and so they didn't have much communication in that area. So I don't know.
Did they follow politics?
I was too young to understand whether they were...
Did your father ever said, well, I like Harry Truman or something like that?
Well, he did a lot of reading, but I was just a kid.
You were a kid.
I was less, I died when about 19 or 20 years old.
Your parents died?
My father died, yeah. And I really didn't have...
I got a poem about father. I'm going to give it to... I'll read it to you and see if you'll know this, what I'm saying. And let's see if I can find it. Go ahead, but I want to give it to...
I'd like to have a copy of the poem you read before, though. Dave.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Okay?
Yeah, sure, I'll give it to you.
David is a fine poet.
Let's see if I can find that one on the father. I want to.
David, your poems are available to any listeners who request, right?
Yeah, or they're just on my webpage.
Oh, which is what?
Marketingandstorytelling.com. marketingandstorytelling.com. Here we go. This is for you and your father, okay? Celtic Circle, father and son. When I was young, my father was a great giant. He would pick me up when I would fall. When I was a teen, my father was an unwanted authority. He would keep emphasizing the value of family. When I was an adult, my father was my counselor. He passed on his wisdom and love. When I was a father, my father was my guide. He revealed the middle path to me. When my father died, I was alone until I realized that I had become my father. For my father, David.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I want a copy of that.
That's a nice man's poem.
I want a copy of that too, please.
Yeah, there you go. But I think it's true that we don't realize it, but we end up as
okay.
But do you like the poem?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Let's see. Here's the other one. Parents.
That's
Celtic
great.
Parents.
I'll tell you what. I really.
There you go.
I just want to thank.
Signed by the poet.
Dave. I got to thank you and Joe so much for this opportunity.
Well, we're honored.
Because I've enjoyed this. I've been enjoying this discussion because I really get to appreciate you.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Well, I've been appreciating David all over again.
Yeah.
David was in top form today, just like the good old days.
Oh, really? There you go.
Oh, yeah. When he would interview people each week, I was in awe of his interviewing prowess. And you, Bill, have brought that out in Dave again. I haven't heard him like this in a long time.
You're such a wonderful. Oh, here's the big question. Does your wife see you as such a wonderful man?
Oh, yes, she
does. She knows.
And he knows that she is a wonderful woman.
Well, my wife,
I can see
my
that.
wife is a very wonderful woman.
Yeah, right. I never met her.
I couldn't come close to being as good as she is. She's complete.
Stella.
She's complete kindness and thoughtfulness. She's
Hi,
great.
Stella. Are you listening?
Yeah.
No, we'll have a tape for you.
And what were her parents like? Does she know her parents and her parents?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And her grandparents.
Oh, very
she knew
well.
them.
Yeah.
Tell how you
her
met.
Her mother lived with us for her entire life after we were married.
Tell how you met, you and Stella.
Oh, I met Stella at a dance floor.
Where?
At a dance hall in
Bridgeport?
when I was about 19 and she was about 17.
Wow.
And handsome, dashing Bill DeMayo.
I admired her and
did you write during the war?
For 15 years before we got married.
Woo! Did you write her when you were in the war?
No. We didn't have a close relationship because she was pretty independent. She had a lot of friends, other friends, and
then you
but
finally
after the war,
we
became friends and we eventually got married.
Okay. Professor DeMayo, thanks for being a guest on The Professor.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you, Bill and David. The opinions and comments expressed on The Professors are not necessarily those of the staff or management of the University of New Haven,
or
WNHU,
or
Professor David Morris,
or
Professor Joel Marks.
All right, there you go.